Hello, my name is Angela Innes, and I'm a member of the AIA Colorado Practice and Design Conference Committee, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Calvin Lewis, FAIA. Professor Lewis is a professor and former chair at Iowa State University's Department of Architecture, which is consistently ranked as one of the top architecture programs across the nation. He is also a founding principal of HLKB Architecture, which was recognized as Firm of the Year by AIA National in 2001. During his tenure, the firm received over 200 awards of design excellence at the state, regional, and national levels. In 2009, Cal was recognized by AIA Iowa with a Medal of Honor for his role as an academic leader, as well as a respected design collaborator. I want to welcome you on behalf of AIA Colorado and thank you in advance for participating in the design conference this year.
Angela, it's my pleasure to be here. I look forward to the conference and be glad to answer your questions today.
Great, thank you. Well, let's start with your presentation. It's entitled Urban Amenities, A String of Pearls. I was hoping you could give a quick overview of what you will be speaking about.
I would be glad to. It's very personal in that it really is directed primarily to Des Moines and the practice that our firm has had there over many years. The string of pearls is reference to an organizational system in a city that gets all of its kind of high identity public kinds of projects and organized in a way that they're kind of perceivable holistically, as not just a singular place. I tell the story of, as a young architect, and actually when I was in school before I was an architect, traveling to Europe and landing, getting out of the train station right in the town square. And so you had this transportation center and the public square and the restaurants and all, you kind of got a sense of the city just in this kind of organized central system. And American cities had a tendency to be more spread out. And what we were trying to do over these kind of big career in Des Moines was think about a way to get all these public amenities organized in a way. And our forefathers and I, we were fortunate that they took the main street of the city, Des Moines being the capital of Iowa, and put it on axis with the big gold dome Capitol building up on the hill. So it became a very strong organizing element where we now could follow up and put all of our supplementary kind of public projects of civic centers and public parks and sculpture gardens and all along this what I refer to now as the string of pearls in our city. So.
And I think you also talk, is this correct, about how context shapes the actual architecture of the buildings?
Oh, absolutely. Architecture is the ultimate response, ideology. We respond to clients, we respond to environments, we respond to settings, we respond to, and we would be kind of working in a void, otherwise. And so, Des Moines, has its scale, that we have to relate to. It has its human tendencies we have to relate to. It has its climate that we have to relate to. So, what we've done in Des Moines would not necessarily be applicable every place, but I think the idea of creating, a holistic environment that people can kind of experience in their kind of normal daily life really maximizes its potential.
Teaching has been an important part of your career, and so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what are some important considerations when designing a college curriculum.
I think the most important thing in a college curriculum is to understand the breadth of issues that we have to pass along. Architecture is an extremely complex discipline. Deals with such a wide variety of technical issues, but also our whole design model of a design studio tries to blend and package that range of issues that are in architecture. So what we try and do is make sure that our students are exposed to really thoroughly to this broad set of issues that are involved in architecture. We can't teach them the specifics of things that are going to last. Most of those specifics evolve, and so really we teach them about process, of gathering information, learning how to balance and analyze, holistic information, much less so about the specifics of the information. So it is making sure that we touch all of those bases, so as they go out into their profession, they can either deal as a generalist and deal with all of them, or can focus more specifically on what their special interests are.
Right. As an educator, you've seen a lot of students come and go through your department. I was wondering if you could talk about what kind of skills someone would need to really excel in this profession.
I think that the skills are similar to really what I talked about in the curriculum, in that it is your ability to think holistically. It is your ability to take this broad range of information and figure out a methodology of solving it and balancing it. I mean, you're working with many other people. You're not doing these things on your own. I mean, architecture clearly is a team sport. You have to learn to operate that way. Your ability to balance and think holistically, take this broad range of information, and put values on it that relate not only to society in general, but your client specifically, and then all the knowledge that you gained and want to share with your client at that point.
Have you had a mentor in your career, and how would you describe the significance of having a mentor?
I think having a mentor is essential, almost critical. I mean, it's one of the more critical things that could happen. It certainly was the most critical thing that happened to me. I was extremely fortunate. I was finishing school, was in Iowa, was going to go back to Chicago or some other major city, and got a temporary job in Des Moines. And the gentleman, Charles Herbert, my friend Chick, took me under his wing, gave me opportunities that I couldn't have imagined, having no experience, and the ability to be given that freedom, at the same time having him be there, as the fail-safe, and using young architects, kind of to their greatest strengths, at the same time being there to help care for them. That was of utmost importance in my career, and I think it's an amazing model. I think the notion that our firm was fortunate to receive the National AI Firm Award speaks to how that culture was able to transition a small Midwestern firm to be recognized at that level, because I think it allowed everybody to kind of have their potential be maximized.
And finally, our last question is, how have you seen the profession change since you started?
I think the thing that I like best about the changes that I've seen is it's a much more collaborative environment. I think that will be essential for our success in the future. When I began the process, there were much more traumas, much more adversarial kinds of relationships. Now I believe, with the new young students, it's certainly a message I pass along to the students in the professional practice class that again, with this complex, architecture is complex enough in and of itself, but what we do, but add in the issues of the client and the environment and the constructability, it really, having all of those team members working together and deciding what the very best way to go forward is really the only way to go. We've wasted way too much money in our discipline over time by making mistakes and have everybody be self-protective. And I think it's time that we maximize the overall strengths that we all have and lace them together much more integrally.
That's very well said. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and we look forward to your presentation in Keystone in October. Thank you.
Thank you so much.